need our whispers on.
You need help?
Yeah.
Shalom. Okay, we gotta go. Gotta be ready.
Usually there's a guy that does the best bagels over here, but he's pretty early.
Oh, they're washing the street.
It's very dangerous now. Now we have electricity, now we have water. I hope we have more rubber shoes on. That's why you're not supposed to have flip-flops. There's water and electricity. And these rocks now are very slippery. They're death traps, so be careful. Nice and easy. This is from our bar mitzvah one. Right down here. Here we have the southern steps. Southern wall, that is. The steps are beyond that wall. We're making our place to the closest that the Orthodox Jewish road can come to, is these tunnels.
We're almost to the checkpoint.
We're going to go to a metal detector, put your bags through the screening machine that's in the middle, and then you yourself walk through the metal detector. You can leave these whispers on, they're not going to send it out. If you have any metal, your phone has to go on the table while the bag goes inside.
What?
Yeah, whatever. But we're Americans. We have a bunch of chains and... But very quick people can go back and forth before we even get started. Shalom Aleichem. Larry, I need you here next to me with your hat. Thank you for coming in.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Please get one wristband and pass the rest. Put them on your wrist.
Okay, everybody, let's go.
Welcome, everyone.
אני אולי יצא מכאן או יצא משם?
כן, בטח. גם וגם.
אוקיי.
Yamagam.
That's 4, and I'm looking for 3.
There's 3 right there.
Yes, we're here.
Praise the
Watch
Lord.
out. You gotta get baptized before you go in. Gotta go through holy water.
So this is like where I want to stand, right here.
What is this, did you say?
This is Jerusalem before he puts the models up here.
Okay. Can we take pictures in here?
Yes?
Okay. So brothers and sisters, thank you for coming to Israel. And what we're about to do now is to go up alongside the Welling Wall. This is it, right? People from all over the world pray towards Israel. People from Israel pray towards Jerusalem. People from Jerusalem pray towards this wall. They got it so much mistaken that some might think that this is the holiest site in the world, but it's only as close as any Pharisite Orthodox Jew can get to the holiest site, which is the Holy of Holies right here. Now on the Holy of Holies right here today there is a Muslim structure saying that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his prophet, and it says all around it, God has no form, and he most definitely has no son on the Holy of Holies. That's where the Holy of Holies was. So if that ain't the abomination of the designation, I do not know what is, but it is something that comes to mind. But I'm not a prophet. Just think that. And that's what we have there today. And the whole idea that it seems that this whole plan and the way the house is planned, the idea that it tries to point to is the sacrifice of the son. And the Jewish tradition says that this is the Mount Moriah, where God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, who was a miracle son just like Jesus. I mean, just like Jesus. And the only difference is, like Larry said today, is that Jesus is alive and Isaac is sleeping. We might go, well, we can't visit his bones because that's the mosque, but we can visit his fathers, Abraham's and Sarah's, and Jacob's and Leah's. That's still in the hands of the Jews. And I say it's two prophets. One of them is alive, and we need to decide who. Either it's Moses or either it's Muhammad. Because Moses wrote Genesis, Shmot, Vayikra, Dvarim, the 5 books of Moses, and Muhammad wrote the Quran.
That's easy.
Now the Quran says it was Ishmael, the son, not Isaac, that Abraham was about to offer up, and that would have been in Mount Arafat, somewhere by Mecca. So we just need to agree on what is the truth, and that we get that in our face today. Again, I might explain the attitude while I'm standing here using these words a little bit earlier, but that's as simple as I see it. I don't have any other word or emotion to say that I stand with the Jews and I justify them 100%.
Amen.
I'm a little biased in this. Forgive me. We stand with the Jews. When Sherilyn grew up, she didn't have an option to somebody who believes like we believe. So she had to convert to get married. But I don't see any other option that she had. We stand with the Jews. Other people that claim to believe like we believe are Arabs. And they don't stand with the Jews. We're not 100% kosher Jews. And thank God. This is how the mountain would have looked probably in the days of Abraham, when God told him to take his son that was born to him when he was 99 years old. 99, בן אדם זקן לא יכול לבוא לאישה. His wife was 90 years old, and when she was young, she was barren. היא הייתה עקרה. היא לא יכלה להוליד. She couldn't give birth. That's what brought Ishmael in the first place. Because I am assuming when it got where she stopped having a period, a monthly period, and that's how Abraham was introduced to Hagar, and that's how we came Ishmael. Hagar was a slave woman.
He left his bag.
At the security in the beginning or in this place?
I don't know. I think maybe he's security in the beginning. I'll wait on it.
Okay.
He said he would just go out. Was it a brown? I don't know. No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jose.
But that's how we got Ishmael and the rest of them. But I think God is very clear throughout all the scriptures that He wants Isaac. The whole idea of Sarah and him bringing forth a child was physically impossible, just like a virgin giving birth. It's not any less than that. So I would say yes, he was like Jesus. At least in the way that he was born and in his flesh. That's what I say that he had to give up was the will that he got from Mary. I'm not disagreeing over anything, especially when we have the common denominator. What is the common ground in math? What is that called?
Denominator.
And that is that we serve a living God. Jesus is alive.
Yoni, was that during Solomon's time when they carved out?
During Solomon's time, I'm assuming they would carve out to a certain extent. To be honest, we have no idea because Herod comes. And when Herod comes, it goes all the way down to the Bedrock. Everything gets cleaned away. And now we're changing reality and whatever has to be changed so everybody would know that I am the King of the Jews. What do you mean? The next King of the Jews is born in Bethlehem? Kill all the babies of Bethlehem. That's what he did. King Herod, the guy who built all of this, the guy who built this great building, when he heard that Jesus, the Messiah, is born in Bethlehem, he immediately sent all of his soldiers to kill all the babies of Bethlehem. Mary's husband, right after she gave birth, or I don't know how much long after, gets the message that he needs to get up and leave. But he'll die a few years after Jesus runs down to Egypt. That's why we say thank God for Africa. They never stop singing. When Jesus came down, he came to Israel. When he landed in Bethlehem. When there was trouble, he went down to Africa. So we must praise him the African way. And then everybody starts jumping up and down in the seats and yelling like Indians. So, this is the Herod, Herod the Great Murderer. And he wants to build a huge structure, much bigger than Solomon's, most likely. Because I think you can date the building and you could see, according to the architect type, that definitely this is a radiant. And he decides to have a huge structure here, which is a bit of a problem because it's a mountaintop, Mount Moriah, although you have higher mountains around it. So you don't want to shave off any more than it's lower in the first case. So you do it the hard way by building these retaining walls around it. Very, very massive building of a retaining wall. During COVID, I went and got a crane license by the grace of God, I passed the test and I didn't kill nobody. Thank God. I learned how to manufacture a crane on Zoom, and I was pretty much working by God's grace. And the biggest crane I got was a 12-ton crane. And there's rocks in these walls that are 550 tons. So how do you move that? It must have been from what was cut out from here, I guess. But he elevates the building with these arches going into the bedrock, and then he puts a humongous temple over here. Now it's steady. Now it's going to stand forever. Anybody going to see this building is going to say that if you haven't seen that building in Jerusalem, you don't know what a building is. And it would be the greatest ever, but the only thing is, there's not even one statue in this building. Not even one statue. And there's this place here that those claiming to be gods on earth, the Romans came in, and I think it was the one before Augustus, one of the three of them, he actually walked into the Holy of Holies. And the Roman influence came in here. They appointed Herod, and they meant to reign and rule, and he needs to justify himself to his own people. And I can't say that good intentions is what led Herod. And it's all that he was used to build a building that it's appropriate, that him wanting to justify himself as the legal king of the Jews, the builder of the temple, it's appropriate that today there's saying God has no form, no body, nor no son. It's easy with you guys, but there's people in the world that don't see this having anything to do with God. There's no religious warfare over here whatsoever. It's all about people and man's will can take care of problems and bring peace. That's it, we're insane. We're insane if we keep doing it. But I guess the old timers are passing away, so the young ones, all they have is media to remind them, not somebody who was there in the flesh. Thank you guys for coming to Israel.
Was that originally a Byzantine church that they built up to turn into a
It was a church at a certain time. I know it was a church at the Crusader period. But the building was built in 695 as a Byzantine building, most likely that's Byzantine architecture and designer and definitely techniques. And it was also meant to overshadow Mary's favorite building in Jerusalem, the Holy Sepulchre Church. That was like the Muslim answer, like here, ours is bigger and better, and use the same technique.
So how did they decide to have this Muslim thing here?
It was a political decision, to be honest, because it's not even mentioned in the Quran. I don't think Muhammad wanted anyone to look towards Jerusalem. He wanted them to go to Mecca, come to Mecca, it is Mecca. And Medina, yeah. In the beginning, he was towards Jerusalem. But then the Jews saved his life and he changed his attitude after they saved his life. But they lost control of Mecca and Al-Madinah to some rebellion led by the Yazid brothers. So now all the dinars are going to go down there. So replacement theology is I don't think you would read it quite this way in books, but in history I think it was, the dates are right to agree that that's when they identify here the place where he went up to the seventh heaven to get the order to pray 5 times a day. It started off with 50, but he had to huddle with the Lord. You see, even he huddles, man. So it becomes the third holiest by necessity at those days, and they never forgot it. Then it was always being used to get the Christians out. Go on jihad, save the holy temple, the mosque. Now today they want to wipe any existence that it has anything to do with Jews, and they're doing a very good job at the UN at least. That I will tell the truth. I'm not ashamed of it. That was Obama's going away present.
Yeah.
By not overruling that in the UN, no deal. That Jerusalem has nothing to do with the Jews. But we can't go into politics because we know that God has everything in His hands and He's working out the plan.
Amen.
And that is why I can't believe in Jericho you're out with your phone. These are our red heifers that we've been growing.
Sorry.
Anyhow, even that's in God's hands. I'm not, whatever. That's how I feel now. I think a lot. What if I have to go back and serve, and maybe I need to get back in touch with some of the guys, and maybe I need to start carrying a gun. And people are approaching me actually, so I say, if I say that in true heart, you're not supposed to go back and say, yeah, Yoni was armed. He was armed with something else. So please God, be with us today as we do that. Now, what happened was, the way we get to do this in the first place, it doesn't stay like this for long. What happens is, first we'll go into details. Southern steps, we got to go in here. Would have been the upper underground passage. Again, the southern steps. This would have been the eastern gate. Antonia's fortress. Enough of that. We're going to get sick. So that's good. Romans come. No, stop. You don't mess with the Romans. And that's the deal. It was probably 40 years after, but that's what I'm scared of. Because, and again, it's out of my hands, so God is dealing with everybody the way that He's dealing for His will. And I think to myself, my gosh, they're going to be able to rebuild an altar over here and start having sacrifice, blood sacrifice for sin. Because once they have the ashes of the red heifer, they can get up here. And once they can get up here, they don't have to tear down this. I might be helping by promoting a temple. I might be bringing something else on the scene. Because there's some people say, hold it, hold it, hold it. You know what? We can have unity. We can have all three in one. We can have a mosque and lined up with a church, and we can have an altar next to it, and all serve the same God and live in peace, singing Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya.
Ecumenical, all together.
That's written in the prophecies, isn't it?
You know the Pope is going to be in the middle of it.
My Lord, have mercy on us. And He'd say, here, look what I have done. Peace on earth. Oh my Lord.
What's the scripture say when they say peace? That's when the destruction will be sudden upon them.
What's going to happen? What does it say about this?
They're going to be saying peace and safety. So at some point in time, there has to be somebody that comes in and he just solves all the problems. And there's peace. But if you notice that this dome is not lined up with the Golden Gate, it's actually over here.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So there's actually room, and we don't know if this is going to happen, but there's actually room to put the temple right here. So and I'm pretty sure they're going to do a lot of compromising to get that done.
Well, if anybody needs, I'm a crane operator. I still keep my license. I'm licensed for the 12-ton crane, A-type. If we can have a remote at the bottom, I'd feel a lot more secure.
Who knows, by then there might be a remote control
I'm
crane
assuming it'll be
operation.
laser to there, laser to here.
Big drone. Yeah.
Getting that stuff in the air without it starts swinging around. Oh my God, that is long suffering, especially when there's a whole bunch of people around. So, after the destruction of the Romans, the Muslim era comes on soon. And they are the ones that build the shrine. And I think it's a counterattack also at the one behind them. I think they were trying to make themselves more superior to the Christian basilica. Pretty much it's the same design, to be honest. The ones that they had did not survive because of Hakim Bahir Allah tore it down. And that what turns it, gives it its main shape today. Now they claim this is where Muhammad gets the command to pray 5 times a day. Now there's a great valley here. That's why this thing is here. This is something that Herod built and they left that behind. Because they just renovated it, they needed access. 5 times in one day to go from that mountain to that mountain. It kind of wears you out eventually. And that's why they decided we're going to do even something better than this. We're going to lift up the whole street level to the same level of the dome, and that way you have direct access, no problem. 5 times a day, it's just a straight line. The way they did it was with arches, going up from the bedrock and going into the walls. And once you start cleaning out, we're going to be walking through, it's just walking through a whole bunch of arches.
And this is brand new excavation, right? That the arches just recently got uncovered?
96 is when they opened the tunnel that we're going to walk through all the way. And the Arabs always used Jerusalem to flame up the fire. And I was in the army back then, and they said, okay, the Jews are now digging under the Temple Mount. Look what they did. This is after the peace accord. And they were promoting a lot of Jewish
Have a
blood.
sip of your water?
Yeah. I have another one if anybody wants. Now, that was in 96. And I remember we got moved up into one of the refugee camps, and we saw the jeeps coming out of there. They were all burnt in bad condition. So that was during the days of Benjamin Netanyahu, while he was giving them parts of Hebron. So, that's how they opened up these
Tunnels.
that we're going to be in. So we're actually going to be walking right up against here, more or less, underground. And we'll be seeing the archaeology stuff that you're able to see. Mostly admire the wall and part of the main street that is called the Pilgrim's Road, but they already started in at least publicizing on media lots of parts of it, although it's not open to public as far as I know. And that's it. Are there any questions?
What are the colored lines? Not good at reading.
So the green one is the rock, the natural rock. Now, we're going to be starting somewhere up above and close to the wall, like 3 stories high. But the more we go in, eventually we run into the bedrock into the street.
And the red line?
And the red line is more or less the street level during Herod's day.
And the blue line over here?
And the blue line is where we're going to finish most likely, which is going to be the exit tunnels.
Okay.
Which used to be not a Herodian, and a Hasmonean water aqueduct. I'll start singing Indiana Jones when we go in there.
What about these other models? What's that stuff?
So this one here shows you the Muslim quarter today as it was built by the Mamluks when they lifted the city up. And we're going to be walking down from here, making our way under their houses and under those arches.
So that giant stone that's on the foundation of the retaining wall.
The giant stone is, yeah, it's holding the foundations of the retaining wall, and it's holding it way up above street level. So, I don't know, maybe they did